What's good, homies? Welcome to Retro Rewind, a series where I go back and play older games to see how they hold up to today's standards. To start off this series, I'm going back to my favorite PS2 game, Shadow of the Colossus, to see how well it stands among today's games. I couldn't record the game straight from my PS2, so all the footage is going to be from the 2018 PS4 remake. They're both essentially the same game though. They didn't change any of the gameplay, they just added more collectibles and all that kind of stuff. With all that out the way, let's climb on in and tackle Shadow of the Colossus. The story of Shadow of the Colossus sounds simple, but leaves the player with a confusing yet fulfilling ending. Basically, this guy brings this girl to the Forsaken Land to try and revive her. A deity tells him that if he slays the 16 colossi of the land, he will revive the girl. Without spoiling anything, things don't go that simply for the homie. The pacing of the story is very well implemented through the entire game. It pretty much leaves a breadcrumb trail for the player, leaving bits small enough to digest, but engaging enough to keep you intrigued. The story of this game has so many theories around it, showing how entertaining it is, as well as how thought-provoking it is. Even though it gets pretty weird, especially towards the end of the game, I think it has an engaging story that has a simple, effective base, while also having an open-ended conclusion that leaves it up to interpretation. Okay, follow me on this one. But if Shadow of the Colossus was a burger, the gameplay would be the meat. It's the most satisfying part of the game, but it's only furthered by the toppings. We'll get more into that in the next section though. The game is essentially a boss rush, but the bosses are more puzzle focused rather than combat focused. You have to figure out where the Colossi's weak points are and how to get to them, which can provide a very welcome challenge. It can pretty much be simplified to scale and stab. Where this game may fall short to some are the controls. It is from 2005, so it'll probably seem a bit clunky to some, but I feel like that adds to the experience, as it allows for a more like, oh shit moment, not knowing if you're going to fall off the Colossi and have to start over. In that regard, this game creates a lot of suspense in the basic gameplay loop. It really gets you pumped up when you finally beat a Colossi. One thing I will admit though, is that sometimes the physics can get a little wonky. The only real problem I've had with this though is during the 11th Colossi fight. Other than that, they're usually pretty consistent. Overall, the game has a very satisfying gameplay loop, with a few flaws here and there. Remember I said we were going to get to the toppings? Well, the music in this game is like the secret sauce of the Shadow of the Colossus burger. Seriously though, the soundtrack in this game perfectly sets the tone for a grand adventure. I can't even explain how much I love the music in this game. It has various tracks that range from peaceful tones to triumphant themes. This seriously might be my favorite game soundtrack. It's just so good. I'll leave you guys with a little taste of my favorite song in the game before we head into the conclusion. Shadow of the Colossus is a fantastic game. I was so excited to replay it to make this video. While it does have some flaws, like wacky controls and sometimes inconsistent physics, I truly believe this game is a work of art. From the story, to the gameplay, to the soundtrack, this is one mighty fine burger. And even though I played the original to gather these thoughts, it is definitely much more worth it to play on PS4, as it's easier to pick up and play, and easier to look at. I can declare that this game still holds up to the hype.